You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth, but we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio.
I'm joined by my special guest of RX Muscle Freaks, Aaron Singerman to my right, Chris the Technician Aceto on Skype, Sally Taylor to my left, and Brian Hildebrand, the RX Muscle Editor-in-Chief of the Strength section. Guys, we are here for a very special edition of the Heavy Muscle Radio Show on video this time around, Aaron. And the RX Muscle Classic first annual is in the history books. Aaron, give me your overall impression.
It was a great weekend. I mean, we had a great time. I think that people came out and saw a good show. A lot of people got to see Bros vs. Pros live, and people got to see it live on the internet. I think all in all, it was a big, successful weekend.
Let me go to Chris the Technician Aceto over there in Maine. Chris, you got to stay home this weekend. You watched all the live contest coverage that we had on the site. We started with the Heavy Muscle TV show on Friday night, followed up with Bros vs. Pros 16, plus our guest poser extravaganza here in Columbia, South Carolina. And then we followed up today with the Heavy Muscle Radio on video. What's your impression of the weekend?
I think this little Skype jam that we're doing, where everyone's here on the radio and we're doing it with a visual, means that we're more than one step ahead of the competition again.
I think we're
if there is any competition.
We're way past the step now.
Now, Sally, you've been monitoring the board, so to speak. That's another. I got to add that to the list of the Blechman. Let me hold on. I got to add this. We have a top 10 Steve Blechman list coming up a little later.
That'll be number 11. Though.
No, yeah, I have to replace something. Monitor the boards. All right, Sally, you've been monitoring the boards the whole weekend long. Talk to me a little bit about what the consensus of the audiences that have been watching live, all these live programs we've been having on.
We have people that are getting up, setting their alarms and getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning in other countries just so that they can watch the live broadcast. The feedback has been tremendous, and we've had thousands of people watching this week.
You know what I noticed, Darren? I noticed that we had a big upsurge of people in the live chat rooms, and I think it's because all the people we banned from the boards on RX Muscle, they're all allowed in again. So Vince Goodrum has got like a legion of followers.
Yeah, we need to say hello to Vince Goodrum.
Yeah, I'm sure he's watching probably.
He's probably very flattered.
Hi, Vince. I'm. You know what? Actually, Dave, I'm really disappointed. Vince didn't show up here in South Carolina since we're close to his home, but I'll find you eventually.
Oh, that's right. He does live around here. How come you didn't come to the show, man?
Because I'm here.
Oh, why you don't get along with him?
He doesn't realize the amount of trouble he's in with me.
Actually, Vince told me on the chat that he was going to try to get down here, but something just came up and he couldn't.
Yeah, he probably found
A
out
business
Brian
meeting or something. Probably.
So, Chris, this weekend we're going to talk about a little bit. Also, the NPC Atlantic States big show this weekend, and the Southern California Pro Bikini competition. Aaron was this weekend. Louis Uridel down in California there covering that event. Norman Astria wins the bikini title there. It's Astria is the real name, yeah. A lot of people, mispronounce it. I have a more intimate relationship with her. I wish I did, maybe. Wishful thinking. No, but I think people call her Asaria, but she doesn't correct them, but it's actually Austria. So, let's talk, Chris, though, about what is going on in the news. First of all, I think the blockbuster story of the whole week has to be the fact that MuscleMag, Reps Magazine, and Oxygen, all owned by Robert Kennedy Publishing, has gone out of business officially. So this magazine, we talked about this for the last couple of years, Chris, that the magazines would go out of business. This is the first one to go down the tubes. Give me your impression about what that means for what we're doing here.
It just means that, what it fulfills is your prediction. I mean, I know you talk a lot and you can't remember half the things you say because you're busy. But the fact is the last 3 years you've been saying over and over, print media is dead. And I remember when I first came on RX Muscle, I quoted Sam Zell, who bought the Chicago Tribune and is a big print media guy. And he said 3 years ago, if he's the go-to guy on Wall Street in terms of print media. He said it's dead. Then you followed that up with the bodybuilding print media is dead or dying. And this is just, it's come to fruition, your prediction. And, it validates your wisdom, but it also validates the idea that what we're doing, everybody who's involved in RX, is the wave of the future. Here we are. It's we're talking live. We're having a live radio show in video, and we're going to discuss what's happened less than 24 hours ago. In print, they'd be having to cover stuff 6 months down the road about what happened this weekend.
Yeah. Really, the magazines are an anachronism in today's society. They're just not functional anymore. No one really is going to buy a magazine to get information anymore. They might, like you said, Aaron, buy it in an airport if they're bored or something like that.
That's why I buy them.
Or if they have a subscription that hasn't expired yet, they might keep it. Now, I feel bad for the people who work for MuscleMag because there's obviously a lot of employees going to be out of business. Aaron, I understand. You were writing for them for a little while. You were submitting a gossip column. Tell me about your experience with them.
I was more than submitting a gossip column because I was writing features. So every month I would have to turn in.
He was a feature writer, Chris.
Well, I did. I'd have to do more than just write 3,000 words.
Right.
I know you're laughing at me.
No, I'm just I'm breaking your balls. Have you gotten paid all your money?
So no. Unfortunately, they still owe me thousands and thousands of dollars,
which you'll never get now because they're bankrupt.
And I talked to Bill Geiger, who is the editor-in-chief of I think of the two, Reps and MuscleMag.
Right.
Not all of them. I think Oxygen is somebody else, but he played a big part in Robert Kennedy publishing in general.
Sure.
Has known Robert Kennedy and those guys and dealt with them for many years. And he said that it was totally unexpected that when they locked the doors and sent the employees home, that it wasn't something that they anticipated or thought that was.
Well, they never tell anyone when that's going to happen. But talk to me a little bit because you think he, as the editor-in-chief, would have known. Since Bob Kennedy's no longer alive, who makes these decisions? Was it his wife?
He knew. I'm sure that Bill probably went through the same situation that they did with me, where I would contact him and he would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sending you a check," or whatever, and then I'd have to call again next month or a few days later even. And he'd be like, "Oh, they should have sent it yet." And I'm sure if that was happening with me, it was probably happening with a lot of them.
It might have been happening with him too.
Yeah, maybe even happening with him. So I'm sure it was probably a very stressful situation. Some other people who work for them have contacted me. Other people in the industry that have written for them and worked for them and didn't receive money. So
wow,
I'm sure it's something that they were dealing with a lot.
Now, Chris, I just want to bring up one point. From my inside sources, I was told that MuscleMag was actually selling more copies per month than MD and Iron Man, and yet those two titles are still in business. Now, I know Iron Man had cut back the size of their issue quite a bit, so did MD. Do you think that these other magazines are on borrowed time at this point?
Of course, it's like what one to use the real estate jargon, one house in the neighborhood goes into foreclosure, the next one goes, and then it becomes a wave. It's a trend. I mean, it is a trend. What I understand about publishing right now is straight across the board, circulation is down, and ad revenue is down, but not as down as to some degree in some of these major publications outside of bodybuilding is what you think. So, I mean, would it be an exaggeration to say for any other publication the writing is on the wall?
My question is for MD. Dave knows better than us. Doesn't Steve Blechman have enough personal money that he can keep that thing going as long as he wants to at a deficit?
Yeah, I think that he will, and I think the magazine can't be making money at this point. If anything, he's probably breaking even. He has huge salary payrolls.
Huge.
I don't think he cares though. They have a lot of spending money. When he sold Twin Lab, a lot of people didn't realize him and his brothers made a lot of money. So
hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
right?
So I think that this is probably more of like a write-off to him. If anything, I know when I worked for Muscle them, they were making money. But I don't think he's making money anymore. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. I don't think he cares. I think to him it's fun.
I can't imagine that he cares about the bottom line.
It's fun.
I can't imagine.
Although he is trying to save money in some respects, Chris, right? Because our next story of the day that we talked about a little bit on the Heavy Muscle TV show, but you weren't there, was the fact that Cedric McMillan, after being signed by Steve for his second time, I guess Cedric worked for him in the beginning of his career, said he would never go back to Blechman unless he paid him a lot of money. Evidently, Blechman ponied up $5,000 a month and was paying him, and he just decided. I guess Cedric didn't do well enough at the New York Pony, and he found a reason to somehow weasel out of his, not to use a pun or anything, but weasel out of his contract. We know that when Blechman sends out those FedEx letters, they're not good news. And talk to me a little bit about what happened with Cedric.
No, what I know is, I broke the news to you that he got a FedEx letter. And, FedEx letters are never good when they're coming from Advanced Research Press. And it was apparently, we are ditching you based on a breach of not doing Brazil.
So basically they fired him for not doing the Brazil show, which Steve Blechman had told him was okay not to do, correct?
Well, he told me.
Yeah, let's go. Let's rehash for people who don't remember, even though I've been talking about this nonstop. Sean Ray basically saw that Cedric McMillan missed the competitors meeting or came at the very end. He told Lee Thompson, he texted whoever, and somehow Cedric got disqualified or was not allowed to compete in the Arnold Brazil show. There was controversy whether he really could have or not could have, but basically the consensus was between you, Cedric, and Steve Blechman that Steve was fine with Cedric missing it and he didn't want to rattle any feathers.
Steve encouraged it.
Steve encouraged it. Give me the quote that he gave you.
The quote is, to the best of my recollection, he asked me, can he win the show? And I thought, what a crazy question of one of your athletes who just won a show 2 weeks before.
Right.
Can he against a weaker lineup? And I say weaker because I was there at the Probiotica booth, and the favorite, I guess, was Freeman, and he's standing 20 feet from me for 2 days. I mean, I know we interviewed him. He told us about his weight, and we said he was too heavy, and I figured Cedric was a shoo-in. So I told Steve he's a shoo-in to win, and Steve said I can get him in the show with one phone call. And I said, you got to be out of your mind if you're not going to make the phone call.
I think he made 2 phone calls, and that's why you didn't get him in.
And that's a quotable quotes. I can get him in with one phone call, and my quote back was, you got to be out of your mind not to get him in. He's going to win the show. And he asked me again, is he going to win the show? Can he win the show?
Chris, why would he not? I don't understand. If he could do it with one phone call, why did he not make the phone call? What was?
I don't. I wasn't in the position to ask.
Well, the bottom line, though, Chris,
I was only in the position to say, make the phone call, which I did. If that's your position, if you're making that claim, make the phone call. And then Steve told me, and this is paraphrasing, but pretty darn close to quoting, that he's on the next cover of the magazine, and missing this contest is good for his publicity.
So basically, Blechman was okay with him missing the contest.
Not
only okay, but he
underlying the word okay.
Not only okay, but he was actually going to make a media spectacle of it, which Blechman likes to do, which is good for business. I understand
because
that.
if you remember, it was Steve's idea, which he was excited about, when Cedric realized at 4:30 for 7 o'clock prejudging that he was not in the show. Steve did all he could to get Sean Ray to interview him and give his side of the story. It was like an exclusive, right?
Right.
So, he was. In other words, it was exclusive. It was only going to be on his, media venue, and that he was going to build it up. He was going to put him on the cover of the magazine.
Which he did.
He was fine with it. So my point is this. In business, you can fire people for sneezing wrong if you want.
Right.
You can fire someone for anything because it's your business. You write the checks. It's your, your entity. You can do. Dave Palumbo can do anything he wants. He owns RX Muscle. Steve Blechman can do anything he wants. He owns Muscular Development. But to say that I'm terminating this contract based on not doing the Brazil show points to
he's full of shit. He's full of shit. Let's just say it.
Credibility.
He's full of shit. He wanted to get rid of Cedric.
I said it this way. Makes me want to question his credibility. Well, and you feel that you as somebody who's been axed by him, your quote is he's full of shit.
Yeah. Well, Chris, look, he fired him for the very reason that he said that he was okay with. So he's full of shit. He wanted to get rid of him because he didn't do well at the New York Pro, which
that's the real. I mean, common sense says it. Common sense. Can you just call a spade a spade? Common sense would say that is more logical.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the problem is that, Cedric can come back to the Olympia now and place top 4, top 5, and then Blechman's going to want to try to sign him again. I mean, this is how ridiculous the whole thing is.
Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. I'm not predicting it. I'm just saying don't be surprised.
I mean, I just don't get what's wrong with this guy. I mean, you know what? He wanted to sign someone else, okay, to a contract. He needed the money freed up, and he did it. And I think that this is going to bite him in the ass like it always does. He just hasn't made good decisions. His decision making has been off, I think, in the last 2 years. It's been. We already discussed how it's been off in terms of AMI's got the top guys wrapped up in terms of the top guys who last 1, 2, 3 in the Olympia last year, right? Or 4.
It's actually amazing that the AMI did that, and they're back on top with all the athletes again, because it wasn't long ago they had almost nobody.
Yeah, they got Kai.
Now they got everybody.
They got Crazy Kai.
Phil,
they got Crazy Phil.
Ronnie.
Roden.
Dennis Wolf's with MD, yeah, but he's not even a top guy anyway. I don't think.
No, not really. Not with these guys.
All right, that takes us to our top 10 list for the day. I got my top 10.
They got Ramy or no? AMI.
They got Ramy. All right. Quiet down for a second. Chris, I want to do the top 10 Steve Blechman expressions. Here we go. Number 10. Do we have a drum roll, Johnny? No drum roll. Top 10. Number 10, Vino Viagra. Vino Viagra.
What's that mean, Dave? Explain it.
Vino Viagra is Steve Blechman when he drinks red wine. It's a vasodilator. Vasodilator. And so he feels it has a Viagra-like effect on the body. There's some study that came out that said that. So he made up that term, Vino Viagra.
It's pretty nifty little term, Vino Viagra.
It might have been. He might have stolen it from someone else, but I like it.
If your penis is small enough, it probably has some kind of effect.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Vino Viagra. All right, number 9. I'll put you on the cover. Isn't that his? That's his greatest pickup line, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Number 8. ROI.
What's that mean?
Return of investment.
Yes, return of investment. Absolutely. Number 7. You got to eat fish.
Yeah. Why? What is the understanding of fish-only diet? Because a lot of people do it.
I don't know. Insulin sensitivity.
That's just a insulin sensitivity. It's just, what? What's that mean?
Number 6. Exclusive.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised that's not close to number 1.
That's a trigger word, yeah. Number 5, dry and hard. You got to come in dry and hard.
Yeah,
dry and hard. Definitely dry and hard. Number 4, the barely legal freak. That was his name for Trey Brewer. Remember Trey Brewer? That was another disastrous signing that he did after we did a video on him down in
that you did the video. You caused it all.
Yeah. Number 3, Kai's glutes, which is also pretty much up there with Victor's glutes, and that could be interchangeable for number 3.
Well, it can't be Kai's now because Kai's with AMI, so he's like, try not to mention him.
That's right. Aaron, you do number 2.
You're a very handsome man. Very handsome.
Aaron's a very handsome man, yeah. And the number 1, Woo! On that note, let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to break down the first annual RX Muscle Classic in Bros vs. Pros 16, and we're going to talk about the Atlantic States and all the guest poses they had there. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Iron Mag Labs is the leading supplement company offering the most hardcore pro-anabolic supplements. Visit IronMagLabs.com and check out our top-selling products. Asta RX, Halo Extreme, Sinustain RX, E-Control RX, Decadrol Max, Ultramale RX. Iron Mag Labs makes supplements that actually work. No hype, no BS, just real results. There's a reason you keep hearing about Iron Mag Labs. Come see what you're missing. Visit Iron Mag Labs at IronMagLabs.com for the most hardcore bodybuilding supplements.
Formostanzol is an amazing compound that should be part of every cycle, not only for muscle gains and fat loss, but for longevity and health. Formostanzol is one of the world's most potent aromatase inhibitors. Use Formostanzol for on-cycle estrogen and progesterone control, as a standalone anabolic fat-burning agent, and during post-cycle therapy. Are you using Muscle Research's revolutionary transdermal Formostanzol? Available at MrSubs.com with free shipping.
Every bodybuilder scours the supplement world looking for the secret of how to get huge and ripped. Well, what if I told you there's a product
that'll give you a year's worth of gains in mere weeks. I bet I have your attention now. Let me introduce you to Methyl S, Ion Tech Labs' brand name for pure, uncut methylstenbolone. If you seek strength and massive size gains, Methyl S promises just that. And no conversion to estrogen, so no gynecomastia. That's right, no chance of growing male breasts or bitch tits. No estrogen also means no bloating. And Methyl S is the strongest legal pro-hormone on the market. It's comparable to the strength and mass building effects of the powerful oral anabolic steroid Anadrol and Dianabol. Sound too good to be true? Well, try Methyl S for yourself. Go to www.iontechlabs.com for the most powerful legal designer steroid of all time. Order your bottle of Methyl S today at iontechlabs.com.
All you need is one more peptide company, right? That's what I said too till I was introduced to hardcorepeptides.com. Have you ever wondered what was really in your research chemicals? I have, but with Hardcore Peptides, they take pride on their exact measurements and high quality ingredients. If you are doing research, do it with hardcorepeptides.com. Use the discount code PJ20 for 20% off hardcorepeptides.com.
Quest Bars from Quest Nutrition is Dave Palumbo's favorite protein bar. It's the only bar that's not simply a candy bar in disguise. There's no sugar or sugar alcohols, no soy, and zero trans fat. Quest Bars contain only the highest grade protein from whey and milk protein isolates. Quest Bars are also the lowest carb bar available, only 4 to 5 grams, and they all come from nuts. Quest Bars are also gluten-free. Quest Bars were specifically made for people who are serious about their physiques and who want the highest quality ingredients. Best of all, they taste great. Learn more about Quest Bars by visiting questproteinbar.com and try them out for yourself. Check out questproteinbar.com now.
Tad the Diet Coach, contest prep guru for bodybuilding, bikini, physique, and figure. Go to tadthedietcoach.com, an expert on nutrition and exercise science with over 20 years experience in fitness and bodybuilding. Tad the Diet Coach offers a complete scientific and individually focused contest prep or a full off-season plan that is custom tailored for your own unique needs. This kind of diet coaching is a premium coaching service that includes weekly conference calls, individually based diet and supplement plans, specific cardio and workout schedules, and constant contact during the contest prep or off-season process. Tad the Diet Coach, author of the Diet Recipe Cookbook, and also the creator of the Coach's Choice Whey Protein Isolate, which is the absolute best tasting premier isolate on the market. Tad the Diet Coach will get you to the next level. Go now to tadthedietcoach.com or send an email to info@tadthedietcoach.com.
This is IFBB Pro Troy Alves. You listen to Heavy Muscle Radio, the truth in bodybuilding.
All right, welcome back from the break. I'm sitting here with Aaron Singerman to my right, Chris Aceto on Skype, Sally Taylor to my left, and Brian Hildebrand. And we just got finished talking about Steve Blechman, actually, but we don't want to waste any more time on him. Let's get to the shows at hand. This was the first annual RX Muscle Classic. Trey Bennett contacted me about a little less than a year ago and said, I'd love to hold an RX Muscle Classic out here in South Carolina. Columbia, South Carolina, I guess is the capital here. Is that true, Sally?
Yes.
Okay. So we held it here at the Capitol, and it's the first annual show. Now, South Carolina only has 400 card-holding members of the NPC, so we really need to pump up the action of it here. I took the challenge because I wanted to. I always liked Carolinas. I thought that the Southern bodybuilders were hardcore and they're really loyal. So we decided to hold a show here. We held it at the Great Koger Center. We did a live stream of Bros vs. Pros 16 simultaneously with the show. And I think I want to go to Brian. I think the weekend was a really big success in the sense that the competitors really enjoyed what we did this weekend.
Well, I want to start with by mentioning Trey Bennett's staff was absolutely fantastic. From the moment we arrived here in Columbia,
they're great.
Through the entire weekend, they took good care of us, and they were proud. They were actually proud to be part of the entire
Dutch,
event.
you rule.
Dutch is my buddy at Bros vs. Pros. He was a great spotter and a complete knucklehead. Dutch, here's a you. But I mean, starting from the moment we arrived at the airport, they were there and supportive and anything and everything that we needed. So my hat's off to Trey and his crew. on a great show. The facility, as far as I'm concerned, second to none in the country. That was a beautiful, beautiful theater, and you couldn't get the gist of it from the video because you're looking at the stage. But when you look out in the audience, it's new,
it's 2,300 seats, Aaron?
Yeah, 2,300 seats, 3 levels, beautiful, beautiful place. And the staff backstage was fantastic. As for the competitors, I actually had more competitors than I thought we were going to have because I was concerned, again, 400 card holders in the state of South Carolina.
Yeah.
A couple people doing it for the first time, so I think we increased that number by a few. We had people coming from outside the state, from North Carolina, from Atlanta, from Florida, Texas.
We had the winner of the women's bodybuilding from Texas.
And so it was great to see. And the Bros versus Pros people, and we had a venue change and a date change almost literally at the last minute. And I
loved holding it up on stage in conjunction with the show.
And what was fun was we had these men's physique competitors like, screw it, let me take my shirt off, get on video, a little exposure for me. And that's what this is about, is creating exposure for guys and gals that just really never get the opportunity to have it.
Absolutely. And the competition was first rate. I mean, if you see the winners of our Bros vs. Pros and the actual show itself, I mean, it was as good as any show that we had around. Let's talk about Bros vs. Pros, Brian. We had 225 on the bench for the men.
Right.
We had 115 on the bench for the women.
Yep.
And then the curl competition, we did 110 for the men and the curl for reps and 60 pounds for the women.
Correct.
The competitors are always a different makeup depending on what state we're in.
Right.
But sometimes we have competitors that will drive great distances to come and compete. Mark Lurch is a guy who comes to mind.
Right.
The girl who won in Connecticut, what was her name?
Rebecca
Klopp
from Pennsylvania.
Traveled to a couple shows. Dylan Williamson, who won Bros vs. Pros 13 in New Jersey last year and came out of nowhere, essentially, drove 10 hours to come down here and try to win the Bros vs. Pros bench and curl. And not only did he win both events, the first person ever to do so.
Yeah, I was actually, Dylan is one of these game kids who's really got a lot, not necessarily to prove to himself, but he likes the attention. He's like,
oh yeah,
he's an attention whoa, and I have no issue with calling him that.
And he's strong too.
He's a big, 280-pound strong kid. Looks great. He's got a terrific future in bodybuilding for sure. But he's strong, and so when he showed up, told me he emailed me a couple weeks before. He says, "Who's entered?" And I played it off like, well, really nobody. And in reality, there was a couple guys that I thought would be game. And so I was excited for him to come down.
What was the bench total that he won with? Do you remember?
51
reps.
His best is 52.
Yeah, he did 51 reps here. He won. Not only did he win the event, but he beat the likes of Charles Dixon, IFBB Pro.
He beat them badly. He beat
Hollywood Glenn, IFBB Pro. I mean, and these guys put up some decent numbers in the 30s, but he blew them away.
Dylan's got those super long arms, and so you would think he'd be at a disadvantage as opposed to Hollywood and Charles, who have huge chests and little tiny arms, lengthwise little tiny arms, but in diameter they're huge. And you would think from a leverage standpoint that the 212 guys would go all day.
Brian,
they couldn't do it.
Is Dylan really strong on his single lifts? I mean, he's a strong guy. I mean, he's obviously great at reps, but is he a strong guy for singles and doubles, stuff like that?
He's a Jersey State powerlifting champion, I believe, in high school and as a junior. So yeah, he certainly comes from that background.
How much does he bench now? What's his single rep?
I don't know. I haven't asked him. I haven't talked to him.
That'd be interesting to hear. I'll be curious. I just had curiosity.
He's smart. He probably is not lifting too heavy because I know he wants to.
I'm looking at him. I see him from the back. I know he's not a deadlifter.
Oh no, you can tell from looking.
No,
at him.
His back is not as big as his.
No. He doesn't have this kind of back. He's got a 21-year-old back.
He doesn't have a hunchback.
Yeah, exactly. He's not all bent over and hunched.
There's a little curvature in our spine.
That's right. This is that Branch Warren syndrome.
Now, the women's event actually turned out to be more exciting because there was a little bit more competition. Ann Sheehan, who's getting ready for the USA Championships, wins the bench press and takes home $750 from us.
Which is good. I was excited for her because she certainly needed the travel money coming up, about 6-7 weeks from now for the U.S.
And she just moved from, I think, the New England area down to Sarasota, Florida.
Right, yeah. Sarasota. Yeah, and so I was excited for her to win. But for me, the moment that I was really excited about was when Monique Jones came out at the very end, and she was like, there's no way I'm going to beat this. She tried to throw the towel. She carried a towel out, held it behind her back, and I was like, Mo, what's going on? She says, I'm throwing the towel in. I can't do this.
Well, and she had put up how many reps in the curls? Do you remember?
Mid-50s. I'm going to say mid-50s.
58, I think.
No, I thought it was 50. It was high. Yeah, it was 50. It might have been
high 50s.
It might have been 58.
Right.
And Monique gets under that bar, and I didn't know she'd even do 20 reps, and she powers through 30 or 35, and then she just starts muscling through them, and she passes Ann and gets the prize money, obviously wins the title, and keeps going. And I don't even know where she's going at this point. I mean, Aaron and I are kind of like jokingly saying, can she try to be going for Colette Nelson's record, who did 105 reps, which we thought was an unbreakable record, and little by little, she's doing more. And
I thought
you're even starting to cheer her on at this point.
Well, yeah, because I told her, I said, this is how many you've got left to beat Colette. This is how many you got left. And she was there in New Jersey with us,
yes.
and saw Colette knock out that, I think it was 105 or 106.
Yeah.
But she competed, what was really interesting to me, she competed at Derek Poundstone's facility when we were there last summer in Connecticut, in Waterbury. And I think she got like maybe 35 or something because she used that strict bodybuilding form. And I talked to her before, and I said, no, it's about getting it from point A to point B, hump the air, make it happen. And she started a little slow. She started a little slow, and then she just started banging them out. And then you can see her get the focus in her eyes. I knew it was lights out. I knew she'd win it.
107 reps, the new Bros vs. Pros record. Congratulations on Monique. And
Absolutely.
I got to tell you, after we did this competition, the most exciting part for me was to get these IFBB pros up on stage to guest pose because they were super pumped up at that point. Charles Dixon looked like he was going to explode. He was so fucking full. I couldn't believe it. And he guest posed. Hollywood Glenn, who was also in the competition, guest posed. Monique guest posed.
Anthony Pasquale.
And then, of course, we brought in Anthony Pasquale, who's getting ready for the USA Championships in 7 weeks. And he looked phenomenal
and
as
they
well.
all guest posed together at the end. They posed down together. It was really cool.
We had a South Carolina pose down.
Yeah.
Anthony was the only one who really wasn't.
Actually, Hollywood Glenn was funny because he came out with no shirt on, these long shorts and socks.
Yeah, I know. What was he
socks
wearing
on
socks
stage.
for?
I don't know. It was pretty funny.
That must be this must be a country thing, right? We have to ask Cedric about that, right, Chris?
They're country neighbors.
Yeah, they are neighbors, actually. So I was very happy with Bros vs. Pros 16. Now, Brian, Bros vs. Pros 17 is slated for the USA Championships weekend?
Stan Efferding called us and said, I want to put one on. I've got a venue. I've got guys. Excuse me. And he's pulling. We have not talked complete details. This is going to be one of the most retarded Bros vs. Pros that you've ever seen.
Why is that?
Super huge, high powerlifting talent is going to be at this show.
I understand that the world record holder in the raw bench press, who just recently said it, Eric Spada, will be there. Is that true?
Eric Spada pushed to 700 about 8 weeks ago at Sean Catterley's event in Las Vegas. And then at Mark Bell's event, he went 708, 709, 710, and then broke Scott Mendelson's record and went 716 and smoked it. So
wow.
We know he's got a lot more in the tank. And this is a guy that
can he do reps, though?
Well, that's exact. Can he do reps? But Stan's talking about bringing guys like Al Davis, who's a 40-year-old guy who's closing in on that 700-pound mark, and he's a flat-back bench presser, old school Arnold Schwarzenegger 70s bencher.
He's the tall black dude, right?
Yeah, he competed at Brian Dobson's at the Arlington Metroflex Bros vs. Pro 6.
Wow.
But Stan has talked about bringing in some super high talent on his dime and saying,
all right,
let's put the best of the best together. So we're going to do a bench. Now, this one might be different because we're talking high caliber people. This may be a 315 instead of a 225.
Yeah, we'll make that decision and we'll let everyone know, of course. So the Bros vs. Pros is a success. Aaron, the RX Muscle Classic, I interviewed our winner, Marcus Williams,
yes,
who was almost shocked that he won the event. And, I told him, I said, this could be, 20 years from now, like a very prestigious title. We'll be asking trivia questions.
Hopefully not 20 years. Hopefully 5 years from now.
Well, we might be doing trivia questions. Who won the first ever RX Muscle Classic?
Somebody will ask.
20 years from now. And maybe no one will know, but the answer will be, who is Marcus Williams? And if you want to find out exactly who Marcus Williams is, go to the RX Muscle site. We did a great interview with him post-contest, and it's up there.
And I want to make a note that that as we were standing up on stage doing Bros vs. Pros, Dave and I, and he said, who do you think is going to win on stage in front of everybody? Who's going to win the and I said, I think the heavyweight's going to win. And Dave goes, no, the super heavyweight's going to win. And I was like, all right. And then when the heavyweight won, this kid, I was very happy. So I had to, of course, I had to bring it up here.
He's so very infrequently right. He has to bring it up when he is.
All the pictures are also up in the contest gallery for the RX Muscle Classic, so you can see pictures of him.
And actually, the heavyweight kid, he actually, of all the people, he definitely has the best potential. Also, I mean, your argument was the super heavyweight was in better condition. He went in better condition. But that kid who did win the heavyweight, if you guys take a look at the pictures in the interview, you'll see the kid has a lot of potential. He has potential to go a long way.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Eric Jones has been around a long time.
Yeah. There was a few guys that commented and said he looked like a junior Tony Freeman from a structure standpoint.
Let's hope he's like Cedric and he'll go on and get his pro card and lose his contract from MDU at some point.
Let's hope he doesn't lose his contract. Chris, what's the latest suicide alert on Cedric? Is he all right?
I don't know what's going on. All I know between Brazil and now is that I know George Farrar was abstained from making a big announcement on a fictitious radio show. And
doesn't fictitious imply that it's not real?
Well, it's not relevant.
Oh, okay, not relevant, I guess.
Maybe George's announcement wasn't real.
Aaron would know more about that than me, though, wouldn't you, Aaron? About the big announcement that was never announced?
I don't know anything, but I do know that George Farrar, I was under the impression there was going to be some announcement at some point, and it never did happen.
Well, he didn't announce it because Cedric looked terrible at the New York Post.
I heard he was going to announce it before that. It just never happened for some reason.
Maybe he got a letter, and maybe he got a FedEx in the mail.
But he's on the cusp of making another announcement, right?
Yeah. Well, let's get to that. Let's get to the NPC Atlantic States. We couldn't be there, obviously. We always cover that show. I think I've been to that show every year for the last 20 years or something like that. That's Steve Weinberger's show in New York City. It was a raving success. Pete, the producer, covered that event for us with Tennille Ray and Jeff Binns. And, the show, I think, went almost to, like, after midnight. It was a huge, humongous show. But the guest posing extravaganza there was almost as good as the one that they had at the NPC Pittsburgh. We had Jay Cutler on stage. We had Kai Green on stage, Dexter Jackson, Juan Morel, Victor Martinez, Evan Centopani. Chris, from the video that we have, the exclusive video we have up on RX Muscle and on our YouTube page, and that's being shared all over the world. I even noticed that Muscle Development is putting our video up because no one else seems to have the exclusive footage that Pete, the producer, got. Who do you like the best in that lineup? How do you think Jay looks, first of all?
I mean, Jay looks good,
well, what's good mean?
I mean, he's quote, technically within striking distance.
What do you think of his right leg? To me, his right leg looks very, very, very atrophied.
Well, in the video, I never really, you couldn't get it looked smaller, but you couldn't get a good look at it because the angle of the video and a lot of the shots he hit, you didn't see him straight on. You know what I mean? Did side chest, 3/4 backs. There wasn't a lot of traditional front doubles or front lat spread. I mean, he don't hit the traditional front double anyway with, both legs planted.
Right.
But, I mean, he looked he looked big in striking distance. I mean, we're not 6 weeks out. We're not 10 weeks out. We're 4 months.
I thought he looked very big. I thought that he
looked like you got to do this. This is how you know. This is how I judge it, where he is right now. He looks a lot bigger than 2 months ago, which was 8 weeks ago. And he looks a lot bigger than 16 weeks ago. And there's 16 full weeks to, get ready for the Olympia. So the rate of change is obviously dramatic from 4 months ago.
And now at this point, he's on lockdown as of after the Atlantic States. He's not going to be leaving.
Where'd you come up with lockdown from?
That's the mode that everybody says that I'm on lockdown.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know if Jay coined it.
No, I don't know who coined it. It may have been Steve Blechman for all I know. But he's not leaving anywhere, so he's staying at home in Vegas for 16 weeks, and I'm sure that will make a big difference too. Not having to travel, traveling like that 3 or 4 days out of every week has got to be tough for somebody who's trying to win the Olympia.
What did you think of him, Aaron?
I thought he looked big. I was very impressed at how much bigger he's gotten while traveling and doing what he's got to do. And like you said, I think that in 16 weeks that he can impress a lot of people. I think that he has the ability with the size that he has now to diet down and be big, and that's the key. Because if he would be dieting down and he'd be 10, 15 pounds smaller, he'd have a lot less to work with.
Chris, my question to you is, Jay Cutler, and I don't mean to keep harping on this, but you have to harp on it because just like we harped on Ronnie's back when Ronnie's back was dramatically smaller on that one side, Jay's leg, looks a lot smaller now, and he's big and full. When he sucks down and diets down, I mean, is that leg going to really be something that's going to be his Achilles heel here, especially given that he's not the reigning Mr. Olympia right now?
I think he'll give him. I think it's a liability. I think that's a fact. It's a liability in the sense that, and I'm not saying it's a liability in the sense that it's smaller, but you're going against people with other, Kai's got big legs.
What about Rami? I mean? Rami's a bigger version of Jay.
Rami's got big, I forgot about Rami, Jesus. He's got big, thick legs too, so, and he's wide. So that tends to, I think their expectation, one small leg or not, Jay's probably the expectation is to have the best wheels on stage.
Right, but he's not
And
going
if Rami's are just bigger, and they might not have to be like cross-striated, but if they're big and huge and he's wide, that tends to neutralize. That creates a liability where in the past there may not have been a liability for Jay.
Right.
And if we had Chad here, he pointed out that it was a liability for a decade.
Until he started.
But if
working
he's
with
working with him, he may consider it an attribute.
Talk to me about Kai Green. We've seen him several times in the last 2 months or so. He obviously is looking probably the best of all the top competitors. What does Kai need to do, or maybe not do, to come into this Olympia and win it?
He needs to not to make the mistake is that he looks freaky now, and to get caught up in the idea that I have to improve. You know what I mean? Because as freaky as he looks, and he does look crazy, he still has to pull out all the stops to be able to win a show like this. And sometimes when you're looking freaky 16 weeks out or 8 weeks out, you forget. You do. You forget, like, okay, I just got to take it to the nth level. And that may be, an issue for him. I mean, I don't see him. He's freaky, so he can only, he can technically on paper get better, but maybe not too.
Hey, Chris, I wanted to hear what you thought of Kai's his outfit, his getup there he was wearing.
I'm a bodybuilding purist, and I know he likes to entertain the audience, and the audience probably loves when he does, the outfits and stuff. But I thought it was odd when I saw the video that he's still wearing it, posing next to Jay.
Well, yeah, that was I got to say something, because when I saw the whole group of them out there, it was such a motley crew. You got Juan, who's like very aggressive out there because he's just so happy to be out there with these guys. He's got the chain around his neck. He's like jumping in front of people. Then you got Kai, that's like he almost looks like he's like something like the Phantom of the Opera out there. He's like doing all these crazy weird like facial movements, and he's like leaping around out there. And then you got Evan Centopani, who's like wearing like this like very conservative.
He was wearing his polo shirt. He didn't want to take off his shirt. He had a polo shirt.
He looked like he just came from a hip hop show or something.
He looks like he was probably upset that he was going to get it dirty or something like that. And then you got Dex, who's just chilling out. Victor's probably, I don't know what planet he's on. He's having a good time out there. It was just a real motley crew of people up there. I was laughing. I was actually watching it, and was very amused by the whole thing.
I was thinking when I saw it, I guess the show still a lot of it comes down to the guys in the show, the individual mindsets coming into the show. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking when I was watching the video.
What about Evan Centopani? You've been working with him, I understand. What show is he getting ready for? I think a lot of people want to know that.
The White Nasty?
Yes.
White Nasty.
The White Nasty is getting ready for Tampa.
Okay, so that's coming up pretty soon. He looks like he's pretty lean. What are your expectations for him as far as body weight on stage and how he'll look? 266.
Wow, big.
That'll be head bigger than he has been, huh?
Okay, I don't know. Maybe low 260s.
Is he listening? Is he listening?
For sure.
To
you? He's 278.
Okay. Is he listening to you, Chris? Dave wants to know.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll
make that claim he is if he looks good, and if he doesn't look good, I'll say, Evan, don't listen to nothing I say. He's got his ear.
Send him a FedEx letter if you don't listen.
So I'm still I see that video, and something makes me just chuckle when I see Jay, because I think at the end of the day, Jay still is up there and legitimately believes, knows, and feels, Kai looks crazy right now, but I got him.
Right.
Definitely.
It's just a hunch.
But he's got to believe that, right? Or how could he do the show?
No, I think he does believe it. He probably sees, like, okay, every week I see this guy, he looks crazy, but I'm getting bigger.
Yeah.
Look how much better Jay looks in Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, he looked.
Yeah, he looks way better.
Horrible. Everybody was saying that, and now nobody's saying that right now.
I would have liked to seen Rami up on that stage. I got to be honest with you, just to see what he would have looked like next to these guys. 'Cause I think he would have dwarfed everyone.
It would have been interesting, especially right now. He's back to 320 or something, 330. Yeah, it's the crazy. Yeah,
that's insane. Well, I want to just congratulate Sean Lindo on winning the overall at the NPC Atlantic States. The video interview with Tennille Ray is up on the RX Muscle website. Check that out, guys. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple more topics. We'll wrap up the show, and we'll take some questions from you, the listening audience. So post your questions on the thread now, and Sally will give them to me, and I will read your questions, and I will answer them. And we're going to do a very special Ask Dave segment. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Iron Mag Labs is the leading supplement company offering the most hardcore pro anabolic supplements. Visit IronMagLabs.com and check out our top-selling products: Asta RX, Halo Extreme, Sinustane RX, E-Control RX, Decadrol Max, Ultramale RX. Iron Mag Labs makes supplements that actually work. No hype, no BS, just real results. There's a reason you keep hearing about Iron Mag Labs. Come see what you're missing. Visit Iron Mag Labs at IronMagLabs.com for the most hardcore bodybuilding supplements.
Formostanzol is an amazing compound that should be part of every cycle, not only for muscle gains and fat loss, but for longevity and health. Formostanzol is one of the world's most potent aromatase inhibitors. Use Formostanzol for on-cycle estrogen and progesterone control, as a standalone anabolic fat-burning agent, and during post-cycle therapy. Are you using Muscle Research's revolutionary transdermal Formostanzol? Available at MrSubs.com with free shipping.
All you need is one more peptide company, right? That's what I said too till I was introduced to HardcorePeptides.com. Have you ever wondered what was really in your research chemicals? I have, but with Hardcore Peptides, they take pride on their exact measurements and high-quality ingredients. If you are doing research, do it with HardcorePeptides.com. Use the discount code PJ20 for 20% off HardcorePeptides.com.
Quest Bars from Quest Nutrition is Dave Palumbo's favorite protein bar. It's the only bar that's not simply a candy bar in disguise. There's no sugar or sugar alcohols, no soy, and zero trans fat. Quest Bars contain only the highest grade protein from whey and milk protein isolates. Quest Bars are also the lowest carb bar available, only 4 to 5 grams, and they all come from nuts. Quest Bars are also gluten-free. Quest Bars were specifically made for people who are serious about their physiques and who want the highest quality ingredients. Best of all, they taste great. Learn more about Quest Bars by visiting QuestProteinBar.com and try them out for yourself. Check out QuestProteinBar.com now.
Tad the Diet Coach, contest prep guru for bodybuilding, bikini, physique, and figure. Go to TadTheDietCoach.com, an expert on nutrition and exercise science with over 20 years experience in fitness and bodybuilding. Tad the Diet Coach offers a complete scientific and individually focused contest prep or a full off-season plan that is custom tailored for your own unique needs. This kind of diet coaching is a premium coaching service that includes weekly conference calls, individually based diet and supplement plans, specific cardio and workout schedules, and constant contact during the contest prep or off-season process. Tad the Diet Coach, author of the Diet Recipe Cookbook, and also the creator of the Coach's Choice Whey Protein Isolate, which is the absolute best-tasting premier isolate on the market. Tad the Diet Coach will get you to the next level. Go now to TadTheDietCoach.com or send an email to info@TadTheDietCoach.com.
Welcome back to Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo here, talking with Aaron Singerman, Chris the Technician Aceto, Brian Hildebrand, and Sally Taylor. Now, Brian just brought up a good point. I want to thank all our sponsors for this past weekend for the RX Muscle Classic and the Bros vs. Pros 16. Iron Mag Labs, Robert DiMaggio, of course. We had what was the name of the company that had the chalk?
It's Primo Chalk.
Primo
Chalk. They're out of Oregon, and their chalk's a little bit different. It's not just a calcium carbonate. They actually use it as an antibacterial. It actually has a skin conditioning property. It's a really cool product.
Smells good too.
Yeah, it is, and it functions as well at super heavy weight. I've used it previously, and
does chalk actually break down at heavy weights?
No, you can. I've used another product that's a dry product. It's a liquid. You put it in your hands and it's supposed to work.
Yeah, the liquid grips.
Liquid grips. And when I got heavier, it just didn't function as well.
Remember the old days where you would break the wall apart and you'd use the plaster Paris as the chalk? You remember?
Yeah, I trained at a gym called Pacific West Sport and Racket Club, and they didn't appreciate that too
Chris,
much.
Remember that?
I never even heard of that. That's Long Island muscle.
Yeah, that's hardcore. That's Steve Mahalik gym.
Dave, I got to ask you about last night. Dave,
hold on, I'm still thanking sponsors. Relax a little
just simmer
bit.
down
He's so happy. Can't wait to talk about the strip club I went to last night.
And then we have Pro Lock Collars, who they've been with us for a few shows now, and they make a great, lightweight, super durable. We've never had a single failure with their product from Pro Lock Collars.
Yeah, I like those locks. They don't weigh anything, right?
No, it was super light. They're nice. I'm trying to think of the material they use, but it super. And what's nice is it works. Single product works on a range of different width bars, so you can have have a variation of different, a quarter inch in it, so it works. I was just texting Marilyn from LSR because I cannot remember the name of the gal she's the rep for LSR
Liquid
New Jersey.
Sunrays you're talking about?
Liquid Sunrays. She covers New Jersey and came all the way down here to cover our show yesterday.
Wow.
Super gal, and I'm sorry I can't remember your name, but Marilyn Spatafora? Spatola. I always get that mixed up. Marilyn Spatola from Liquid Sunrays set us
still
up with
recovering from last night.
Not me. I didn't go out. Sally and I stayed in.
I heard you guys drank a quart of vodka.
That was nothing.
No. It was good. And then, of course, Hardcore Peptides, who certainly helped us. And then Species Nutrition had a great presence here. So I want to thank all those guys very, very much and look forward to continuing relationships with Bros vs. Pros with all of them.
Absolutely. And anyone else who wants to get behind and sponsor the Bros vs. Pros events can contact either Brian or Aaron at the website. And, I guess we got Bros vs. Pros 17 coming up in Las Vegas. That will be one day after the USA Championships. And then we have another Bros vs. Pros 18 coming up in San Diego.
August 24th at the 619 Muscle Bash with Louis Uridel, Derek Farnsworth, Frank Nesdoba. A lot of big hitters are going to be out at that, but what's going to be fun, too, there's two things going on. They have their 619 Muscle Bash, which is in their parking lot. It's going to be a bodybuilding show outside. Mm-hmm. Strongest Woman Alive lightweight world qualifier is also going to take place there. Kristen Rhodes, 2-time strongest woman in the world, is putting that on, and she's actually going to compete in Pros versus Pros as well.
Interesting. Maybe Dylan will drive out there. How many hours is that?
Yeah, well, that's the problem is you get the guys on the East Coast and they're unwilling. It's just like what's his name who doesn't want to travel outside of
Mark Lurch.
Yeah, Mark Lurch doesn't want to travel. He's like, well, I could have showed up in Seattle and taken home the money. Well, bring it on, Mark.
Yeah,
he
why
just doesn't want to travel because he can't drive there.
These guys don't like to take airplanes.
Yeah, but and that show is going to be fun. We did that in Phoenix last year, a 315-pound squat and a 315-pound deadlift, and you have to do both to qualify for the money.
Wow.
Yeah,
that'll be exciting.
Well, Derek Farnsworth and Frank Nesdoba tied 37 reps and 34 reps each. It was
we going to have a
ridiculous.
rematch?
And they're both coming. It's a big rematch, and they're both super excited.
I'd like to see Lurch come in and challenge these guys because I think that he'd be good. I don't know what he could squat, but I think that his totals would be at least comparable, if not better.
Right, and this is a 315 instead of 405, which he's knocked out.
Yeah,
over
he's done
40
52 reps with 315 in the deadlift. So, Mark, if you're listening, I know you probably are. You might want to get your ass out to Southern California and challenge these boys. Put yourself on an airplane. Come on, you know you're going to take home all our money anyway. So.
Exactly. Well, and there are two more things. Johnny and I have been talking about this, and we're gonna work on maybe doing our first international Bros versus Pros. I'm not going to release anything yet.
Really?
But
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's good. We're keeping it from you. We're working on it ourselves.
Keep the secrets from me now.
That's right. We're working on this on ourselves, and if we can make this happen, this is going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be a great time for RX Muscle. And then, of course, we'll be back at Diamond Gym for the John Kemper Memorial 2, and that's December 28th, which will be a bench press and curl event.
So we got 3 more left. This is going to be 6 for the year, huh? This is the biggest one yet.
Yeah, it's just we keep growing. I mean, we've had people from Canada, we had people from the UK contacting us. What would it take to get you guys out there? And
all it takes is money.
Yeah, just
Aaron,
money.
You know about that, right?
Yep,
that's what makes the world go round. All right, so ask your question. You're dying.
Well,
we have an Ask Dave segment coming up, and I have questions here that some of the people.
We'll start the Ask Dave segment here with my Ask Dave.
Yeah,
I'll begin the Ask Dave segment. So I heard you went out with Robert DiMaggio, who is a well-known lover of the strip club.
Yes.
And there's a local one out here called Pure Platinum that he told me is the best he's ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I wasn't able to go and enjoy that because Darielle Sagerman would have... So I went. I stayed home. I edited a video, and you guys went out, and I wanted to hear a little bit about how it went.
Well, I got to tell you, I wasn't going to go, but then I said to myself, you know what, I'm in South Carolina. What the hell am I going to do? I got Aaron editing video at home, Sally putting pictures up, no excuses.
Yeah, you got nothing to do.
So I grabbed Johnny Styles, who is a connoisseur of strip clubs, and his beautiful fiancee, Kareen, and I took Colleen, and who else did we go with? I think that was it. And we went over there, and we met Robert. So I get to the door of Pure Platinum, and they're already like, "You're Dave, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" He's like, "Oh, your friend's in there. He's waiting for you." So at this point, I knew that Robert had hooked us up.
Rob is the owner of Iron Mag Labs.
Yes, Robert had hooked us up. So we went in there, and they took us right into the VIP section, walked us right in there. And for some reason, and it's been happening, and you guys have heard this happen all weekend, so I'm not making this up. I don't think I look like him, but for some reason, people think I look like The Rock down in the South.
I've never heard it.
Again.
You've heard people say
all
it?
night.
It's been happening to him. This has been happening to him. You don't. You're like the same color, maybe.
This
Not even.
This one Israeli.
He's a Samoan.
Well, maybe because my physique is a little downsized now, but this one Israeli girl would not leave me alone. She's like, "You look like that guy." She didn't even know his name. And she's like, "I have to go ask my friend." She run in the back. She comes out. She's like, "You look like The Rock. The Rock."
Johnny, we need to get do a split screen with Dave and The Rock next to each other. Maybe that should be the slide for the show.
So
Dave, is he The Rock?
Well, but you have to go back to The Rock with hair because he looks like me now.
Well, I'm losing my hair too, so maybe they the thinning
That's
hairline.
it, too,
They thought, that The Rock is growing a little bit of hair in. But so they thought I was The Rock. So they didn't even matter that I wasn't The Rock. I was close enough, so I got a lot of attention at the club, and there was a lot of people paying attention.
Knowing you, did you tell anybody you were The Rock after they kept
No,
asking
I don't.
you?
I never lie about stuff.
Yes,
like that.
you do.
I don't. I
You
absolutely
always
do not.
say yes when people ask you
Whenever
stuff.
No, I don't.
We were in India, and everybody would come up to us. They'd be like, "Excuse me, you a wrestler?" They'd be like, "Yes, I'm a wrestler."
Because I can't. I don't want to
Everybody
explain to them.
Right,
I can't.
that's what I meant.
I don't want to speak Indian to them. That's why. So I just say yes to everything.
They go, you, and of course they ask the perfect thing. You know Triple H? And you, yeah, I do. Actually, yes, I know Triple H.
Yeah, that I'll admit to, because that is true.
I wrestle him all the time.
That's right. Yeah. But so I didn't cop to being The Rock, but I enjoyed the fringe benefits of being a quasi Rock, in the club.
Quasi Rock.
Quasi Rock. You were a celebrity for a
Put
few
it this way:
minutes.
we didn't get home at 6 in the morning. We were at Waffle House. Okay, so
Unbelievable.
And if it wasn't up to me, I know Johnny wants to take credit for this. If it wasn't up for me, we would have been there till 8 in the morning because Robert did not want to leave that place, and he didn't leave. Actually, he stayed there. I don't even know if he might still be there for a while. So I got a lot of little lap dances and stuff like that. It was fun. I had a good time. I haven't had that much fun in a long time, and I will admit to Rob, and I will give Rob credit that it is probably one of the best strip clubs I've ever been to. But I haven't been to that many. It's up there with the Vegas.
Is it because the girls are so hot?
It was because the girls were very attentive.
Because it was a relaxed.
The
rules were very relaxed.
My ego was this big when I left the place. I felt like. No, it was really. They blew it up. It was even bigger.
I have a question. I have
Yes.
a question. Who got more lap dances, you or Kareen? Because I understand she got quite a few.
Well, Kareen and Colleen were in a room for an hour. I don't know what they were doing with the
Ooh,
girls. back
what
there,
were you
so.
girls doing?
I was.
Just private, just them two, huh?
No, and another girl.
And another. Oh.
Yeah, so
God.
I don't know what was going on there. There was a lot of hot action going on. Somehow we wound up in the champagne room at 4 in the morning, and
No
we were
sex
drinking.
in the champagne room.
You said
No
Rob
sex
had-
in
Rob
the
was buying
champagne
Dom
room.
Perignon bottles,
And Rob had no shirt on, and his girlfriend was undressed. Huh? Is that
something like that. I don't.
That's what you told me.
Whatever happens in Pure Platinum stays in Pure
okay,
Platinum.
sorry.
That's the rules. So we don't really talk about that. But it was a fun night. I want to thank Rob for not only sponsoring the whole weekend, but sponsoring the after party too. So, and I advise you all to go to the after party that he might sponsor at the USA Championships
Or the Olympia.
and the Olympia.
Not
Excuse
USA
me. Yeah.
Championships.
So, thanks for that, and it was a fun night. And,
Yeah, that will be. We need to really plan that out and do the after party at the Olympia and have Rob Iron Mag Lab sponsor the Olympia
right.
after
Yeah,
party.
he should. I mean, he's going to do it anyway. So
He's gonna do it. Better to spend the money on the party instead of the strip club.
That's right. All right, let's. Sally gave me a couple questions that were posted on the board that they want me to answer. One is from Banji. Is that who this is? Banji wants to know Seth Feroci. How would he have done at the New York Pro 212? I think that he would have been first or second, maybe.
No
I
way.
think,
You think
I
he'd
think
beat
he,
Sammy and Jose?
I think he would have beat Sammy. I think that him and Jose would have gone head to head. Chris, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he would have gone head to head with Jose.
Only if he was his very best.
Well,
Only if he was
that's
his
what
very
I'm
best.
assuming. Well, I always assume people are their very best. I don't know what's going on with Seth. He's not getting back to anyone. I think he maybe had some health issues that he wanted to just stay safe about, and I guess he just decided not to do these shows. I had heard he was going to do Toronto, but he wasn't there either, so I don't know.
Why? I heard Chicago. What about Chicago?
maybe he will do Chicago. Is there a 212 in Chicago?
Yes.
Last time I talked to him, that's what he said. He was going to skip Toronto. And
all right,
hit
good.
Chicago.
As long as he's doing well, that's good. Now Maz wants to know. What time is it in where Maz is from?
I think it's like 1 in the morning, 1 or 2 in the morning.
Interesting. She's always
she's
a very loyal soldier.
Yes, she is.
She wants to know: is there any exercise that we could do at Bros vs. Pros where Dave would actually compete?
No.
Unless it involves eating food.
Salmon eating contest.
Talking.
No, that's not an exercise.
An orator. We're going to have an oration.
We'll recite poetry here or something like that. No, I will not be competing in anything athletically speaking. I've exhausted.
I can't think of anything you could possibly do.
I've exhausted everything I could do. Maybe I could do like thumb wrestling or something.
I would say lunges are definitely out.
Even my legs were my only good body part. Now they're not anymore either. So I'll be actually probably in the next Bros vs. Pros. I'll be in a straight cast or whatever they call that little knee brace thing.
Yeah.
So sorry, Maz. All right. Next question they want to know Juan Morel squats 7 plates per side. What do you think? Why do you think his legs are still a weaker point? Well, that's the reason why they're improving is because he can squat that much weight. And I think he has actually dropped his weight down, and he's working more on quality and controlling the movement. And, everyone has weaker body parts, but I predict that once Juan's legs need to come up in size, but they have great shape and they have great separation and conditioning. So when they do put that exercise on, they're going to be a strong body part for him. I remember my arms were a weak body part for me when I first started, and it took a long time, but when they came up, they became one of my better body parts. So, sometimes when the body parts you have to work the hardest on actually can become your best down the road. Chris, what was your best body part when you competed?
My mouth.
No, when you competed.
My legs, because I love to do legs.
Why did you like to do legs so much?
Because
it was what he had inside his posing
and
trunks.
we're nuts. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of. You got to have a lot of balls or have taken a lot of HCG to be able to train legs hard.
What's in his posing trunks? He just said it.
You actually had the best hair on the stage. I think that was what they really think.
Dave, how about people are seeing Chris right now, so they can see the pictures of Chris behind Chris in his studio. Those aren't Jay Cutler. Those are Chris Aceto.
No, those aren't. Those
are those your pictures on the wall, Chris?
That's his back.
What's that?
Are those your pictures on the wall?
Yeah, they're from GQ. I was in GQ. That's what Francesco Scavullo. You can Google it. I know.
No, here's the question. Chris,
he took those.
Chris, don't answer the question yet. I was going to answer who took those pictures. That's the question. I know what my guess would be.
I just blurted it out.
Oh,
He just said who it was.
Oh, I was going to say Bob Grushkin. No.
No. One of the most famous photographers in the world. That's why they're up there.
How did you get those taken?
It wasn't Dan Ray either.
It really wasn't GQ.
Wasn't Dan Ray.
Were you doing schmo sessions for him?
No, but they were taken by Scavullo.
Oh.
He did all the covers of Cosmopolitan. He took that front double bicep of Arnold nude back in '80, and someone broke into his office and swiped them.
Oh, I didn't know that. How did you get to shoot with him?
I used to train somebody who knew him. And then he was doing some pictures. Someone called me up one day. They said, we're going to do some pictures with Francesco Scavullo wants to take some pictures of bodybuilders.
Yeah.
And, of course, I said, who? Who's Francesco Scavullo? I know Mike Neville. I know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
what would your dad have said if you would have asked him?
Asked him what?
Like, should I take pictures with this guy?
He'd want, how much are you going to get paid? Simple as that. No matter who it was, it'd say, how much you getting paid for? Because he always used to say, you can't eat the weights, which means you can't make any money.
Right. All right, let's go to the next question from the boards. Is saw palmetto as effective at reducing DHT compared to finasteride, and what's the dosage? Yeah, I think it's pretty close. I think it's a really good DHT blocker. Saw palmetto blocks that 5-alpha reductase enzyme that converts testosterone into DHT. And if you're looking to reduce some of that, so because you have acne or your prostate, is a little enlarged, or you have some hair loss, you can take anywhere from 200 to 1,000 milligrams of that stuff a day.
Saw palmetto is that effective, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's in that new PCT product that's being sold on our website.
Ion Tech Labs, PCT, post-cycle triad.
Post-cycle triad. And it's also in a lot of, you can buy it generically too. But the trick is you want to combine it with an estrogen blocker too, because testosterone can convert to estrogen and it can convert to DHT. So you really want to block both pathways, not just one. Do we have any other questions, Sal?
Yes, we do. Steve asks, ask Dave, what is his stance on recent research about metabolic adaptation or damage, and could keto diet impact it negatively?
this whole metabolic damage thing is really getting out of hand. People loved creating. Chris, you remember when we used to train? There was no terms. There was one term. You trained or you didn't train. Now they have metabolic damage. They have
insulin sensitivity. Wasn't that one of the top 10 words?
muscle damage. I thought they added that one to his list. Remember when he was crazy? Steve Blechman was obsessed with doing this muscle damage training where you would do these ballistic type swinging movements, kind of like Bros versus Pros.
Right.
And he hurt himself so badly that he couldn't train for a month after that. No, but to me, metabolic damage, I don't even know what the term means. I know a lot of people saying they're burning out their adrenal glands.
It's like your body slows down. So like these girls were doing 2 hours of cardio and plyos and weight training and eating 600 calories a day, and they're maintaining their weight. That's somebody who's got metabolic damage.
Yeah, but none of it's supported by BMI or anything. You've got to have something that supports that, because logically there's still a caloric deficit that's being created.
But it happens.
Here's the problem.
It's something
but it's not supported by scientific literature.
Here's the problem. When your metabolism slows down, what we're really talking about is thyroid hormone, and the thyroid hormone we're talking about is T3. T3 is active thyroid hormone. When the T4 conversion, which is the inactive thyroid, stops converting to T3, the active thyroid hormone, that's when the body's metabolism shuts down. Now, that usually occurs in the absence of insulin. So actually, high insulin levels will keep T4 to T3 conversion working adequately. However, in order to lose weight, you really need to keep insulin levels lower, because insulin's a fat storage hormone, which means you have to keep carb intake lower. So you have this this almost catch-22 situation where if you lower carbs too long for too many days in a row, you'll lower your thyroid level output. So the trick is, and this is what I always tell people, especially on my diets where I put some people on very, very low carb diets, ketogenic diets, you got to have a cheat meal once a week. You have to have a carb day where you have not necessarily the whole day, but you got to put some carbs, infuse some carbs into the diet at least once a week so that you can spike the insulin levels and you can keep that T4 to T3 conversion working well. I think what happens especially with women is they get so obsessed with wanting to lose weight, they think, well, I don't need the cheat meal, I'll skip it. And because I want to lose weight faster, and what happens invariably is that they stop losing weight. Now, Chris, I know you're a big believer. Chris is the kind of guy, if he looks at a guy and he's too flat, you can tell he's a little burnt. What do? You give him a piece of pizza, right?
Yeah, I'm a contrarian. Do the opposite of what you think is right when you get suckered into that. It works most of the time when someone says I'm stuck, and they want to give me the whole list of things that they're not eating. I said, well, just it's not what you're not. It's not the diet. Right. That's screwing you up. It's the idea that you're not taking a break from your diet.
Absolutely.
It's just like when someone says, I can't get my arms to grow, and I've been pounding. I said, and they were growing really good. I was pounding them. Now they're just stuck. I said, well, skip them for a couple workouts.
The problem, Chris, is that people are paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars to people to try to solve this problem, and it's not a really difficult problem to solve. Eat more, If you're dieting your butt off and you're not losing anything, eat more for a day or so, and then go back on the diet, and I guarantee you'll see some weight gain.
It's just like sometimes when you're trying to get somebody tighter for a contest and you're like dehydrating them. Sometimes it works perfectly, and sometimes the body slingshots the other way, and the only way to get them to not hold water is to add water back in.
That's why you're a sodium restrictor, right?
Yeah, that's the SR to get scientific sodium restrictor.
So, we have any questions, Aaron?
Sure.
In your little cell phone of knowledge there?
Absolutely. We have some ask
Anything more on the board, Sally?
No.
Okay.
How many do you want to do, Dave? We got a bunch for this week.
All right, give me a couple. Chris, you and I will field these questions. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah,
You'll do better than me, Dave.
You could jump in too, Chris. This one is from Mr. O. He wants to know Dave's opinion on metformin or glucophage to increase insulin sensitivity.
The problem with glucophage or metformin, same drug essentially, is that one of the effects of glucophage is to crank out more insulin, make your pancreas produce more insulin. A lot of bodybuilders will use this, not necessarily for insulin sensitivity, but because of the fact that they're taking a lot of growth hormone and they're insulin resistant. The problem with this is that you're forcing the pancreas to produce more insulin and you're straining it, stressing it out. And what that ultimately could lead to is pancreatic burnout. They actually say it's I've talked to Colette Nelson about this, my ex, and she is a big diabetes educator. She said this is one of the number one ways that type 2 diabetics turn into actually type 1 diabetics, where they need insulin all the time because they burn their pancreas out. The best thing you can do is actually supplement with a little insulin if you're taking growth hormone rather than using glucophage.
Chris, you have anything to say about that?
No, I always was under the impression that glucophage increased insulin sensitivity. That's why they gave it to diabetics first, meaning it allows tissues to pull glucose out of the bloodstream into muscle tissue. That was my understanding of how it worked.
What it really does is it does two things. It increases insulin output from the pancreas, but it also suppresses the production of glucose from the liver, which actually will keep blood sugar levels lower. So it has two effects. The problem is that it's the insulin stimulating effect of the pancreas that's damaging to the body long term. You know, people who have high blood sugars are lazy. They don't want to take insulin shots, especially regular people. They'd much rather take a pill. And drug companies love to sell pills, and that's the key. And that's why I think it's not something that you really want to be taking on a regular basis.
And you've got athletes that are the same way. They're lazy, and they don't want to do injections once, twice, 3 times a day. They'd rather just take an oral and be done with it.
Chris, how many people do you know that have high blood sugar?
I thought you were going to say who used glucophage. High blood sugar?
Yeah, a lot. Too many lately, right?
Most of everyone who's overweight's got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Next question is, does hack squats target the outer sweep, or is this just a myth? And can you get the same results by doing close stance back squats?
Chris, you could take this question.
No, I don't think I think hack squats, when your feet are like closer to your, when they're not out in front of you, but when they're down like closer to your ass, so to speak, I guess, it stimulates the rectus femoris, like the hard to get part of the frontal quads, and include, it will get the whole entire frontal quads. If you compare them to back squats, most people can't back squat without making their ass do a lot of the work in lower back.
Yeah. Well, I think, Chris, a lot of times I've heard so many people come to me and say I need more sweep to my quads, or the judges say I need more sweep. And a lot of times it's not that their outer sweep is bad, it's that they have no inner adductor muscle on their quad. So their quad looks shallow not because the quad is small, but because the inner part of the thigh, which is that beefy part, is not big enough. So a lot of times I just have people do wider stance squats. They bring up the adductor, and all of a sudden they have more girth to their leg. That's really what Evan Centopani's problem was when he first started out in bodybuilding. He had these huge quads, but he had no adductor, so his legs looked kind of shallow. He still fights with that problem, even to this day, because his quads are so strong that they dominate.
All right, next question. Next question. Dave, you have another. This is from Martin Darenice. Dave, you have another surgery coming up soon. Will you be using any specific hormones or supplements or peptides to help you heal faster?
Who wants to sponsor me? No, just kidding. I will stay on my testosterone replacement. That's for sure. The testosterone replacement for certain. When they repair a tendon injury, obviously growth hormone would be a good supplement. I actually didn't use any for the last surgery, and I was thinking about maybe getting some prescribed from Envision Medical and try that. The problem is I gain a lot of weight when I do that, and I'm trying to keep my weight down. I'll probably go to 250, if I start doing that, and I won't even be training legs. So I might do 4 weeks of it just to help with the tendon healing, especially since the last time it didn't work that well.
Yeah, that's right. You never know.
I didn't really heal too well.
He has another question here. I would also like to know Dave's opinion on Deprenil. I have high prolactin and I can't take Dosinex. Deprenil is also supposed to be a mood enhancer.
Mm-hmm. A lot of guys have not only high estrogen levels when they get gyno, they actually have high prolactin levels. And Trenbolone, Deca, raises prolactin levels, and that can cause the gynecomastia where you get a discharge out of your nipple, which is kind of really embarrassing for most guys. I personally never had that as a problem, but I know some people do. And usually the drug that most people take is Dostinex or cabergoline, right?
Cabergoline?
Cabergoline. Yeah. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong, but anyway, it's the same drug. It's a prolactin inhibitor.
Cabergoline.
And
Cabergoline.
Cabergoline, yeah. And it's a prolactin inhibitor. But if he can't take that, I haven't really heard Deprenil too much. That's like a anti-Parkinson. You might get a few more side effects with that. The truth of the matter is, for people who have high prolactin levels and get that gynecomastia from that, I would just try to stay away from those 19-nor testosterone products, especially Deca, which is really bad at raising prolactin levels.
Yeah. Next question is from Dublin Guy from the boards. He wants to know about cardio. Now, this Chris can answer this too. Does cardio on a stair mill really help bring out details in the glutes and hamstrings, or is that just bullshit? Chris, you go ahead and answer that one first.
I don't really. It may. I would say. I always just think of it, glutes and hams, as being a body fat issue.
Me too.
If you want glutes and hams, you should do heavy walking lunges, or you should squat right down to the ground.
100% agreement.
So, someone just asked me this question today, and it threw me for a loop. Somebody I'm helping, and he looks really good, and he's not too far out from a show. He said, should I start doing Stairmaster? And I hate when people confuse me and ask questions, and I said, of course. I said, why? And he said, I think they bring out, more striated glutes, and of course his glutes aren't hard enough. And I thought about it, and then I texted him back and said, no, it's not going to make any difference versus, you doing what you're doing now on the
Chris,
treadmill.
Here's a good analogy that I give people. I say, look at marathon runners. Do they have great big glutes and hamstrings and ripped glutes and hamstrings? They do a lot of leg movement, right? And they're kicking up real high, especially when they're sprinting. You're not going to do that from long repetitive aerobic movements. You're not going to build muscle or bring out muscle in your quads and your hamstrings. Once, like you said, it's a body fat issue.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a Stump the Jumbo, Dave. And we'll call it a day.
All right.
This is a good one. Chris, if you want to
Can Chris be my lifeline?
Yeah, Chris will be your one lifeline.
Oh, wait, how do I get to Google without screwing up Skype? Go ahead.
No typing, Chris.
No
cheating.
Stump the Jumbo, so I'll take the question, but if I need a lifeline, I can go to Chris.
Yeah, but he can't Google it.
No, he can't.
Okay.
You can see him.
No, I'm wrong half the time.
All right. So, Dave, last year, Sean Roden should have won 5 pro shows. If he did, he would have become one of just 7 men who have ever accomplished this in their pro careers. Can you name, he wants you to name 7, but let's name 5 of the 7 IFBB pros who have won 5 or more pro shows in 1 year.
Extra credit for all 7.
If you can get all 7, you get a T-shirt.
Let's see if Chris and I can do this. All right, I'm going to say Kevin Levrone.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Do you want to see if you miss one, you lose?
If I miss one, I lose.
Yes, you're right.
Kevin Levrone. Kevin Levrone's 1. I'm going to go with Ronnie Coleman. I don't know if he's won 7.
Kevin Levrone won 6 shows in 1997.
7 shows. That's a lot of shows. I know Dorian.
No, 5 shows. 5 shows. All they have to win is 5 shows. There's 7 guys.
Oh, okay.
5 shows.
Would Ronnie Coleman have won? He's won Olympia, Arnold, a couple Grand Prix maybe. Let's see.
That's a tough question.
It's a tough question, is right. It's got to be someone it's got to be like a Darren Charles or something like that.
I can add 1 to it.
Yeah, add 1.
Vince Taylor.
Correct.
Jay Cutler.
Correct. No more help, Chris. No more help. You gave your 1. You gave him your 1.
That was
you
an
need
easy
2 more.
one he gave me.
Well, it doesn't count. He did it. He gave you 1. You got 2. You got 2 more out of the 7, and you win.
2 more out of the 7, and I win. Okay. Chris, you got to think the Grand Prix.
So far, your guesses have been
I
Kevin
know.
Levrone.
I'm trying to think in Europe who would have been on that tour. You would have had, let's see, you would have had like Delat on the tour, but he wouldn't.
Flex Wheeler's got to be in there.
Wheeler, yes, Wheeler.
Flex Wheeler is not in there.
No.
Really?
Was Dexter Jackson?
Yes, Dexter Jackson's in there.
Was Ronnie Coleman in there?
Yes, Johnny Coleman is in there. That would have been 5, but they've already lost.
All right.
That would have been 5. So Chris Dickerson won 5 shows in 1980. Boyer Coe won 7 shows in 1981.
Never would have got those.
Boyer Coe. Vince Taylor won 6 shows in 1991. Kevin Levrone won 6 shows in 1997. Ronnie Coleman won 5 shows in 1998. Jay Cutler won 5 shows in 2003. Dexter Jackson won 5 shows in 2008.
Well, congratulations. That was a good question.
And he proved this by showing me 2 links. One of them, a muscle memory link. He put his address, the size of his T-shirt, which is a medium, but a large is okay, he says. And we're sending this off to Kirk Ireland of San Francisco, California.
Let's send him an RX Muscle Classic T-shirt.
Yeah, we have those.
Oh.
We have. Sally? I think we have large and extra large.
Give him a large.
Okay.
That's a very rare T-shirt.
That is a collector's item.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a collector's item. We have a few. How many do we have, actually?
We don't have that many. We maybe have 5 of them.
5
Yeah.
RX Muscle Classic T-shirts.
Will you hang it on your wall with your...
next to your pictures there?
T-shirt? Of course I wear a T-shirt.
The question is, did you ever get shot by Per Bernal?
No, I never got shot by Per Bernal. I was around when Per first came on the scene, though.
He's the best. He's the best.
He was shooting Mike Francois. I was getting the phone calls. You know, the phone calls that never end. Got to get Mike to shoot with par.
And actually, Dave, I do have one more question.
One more question from
I have
the board?
one more question, and it's a good one. I think
right.
it's funny. Whoops, I lost my spot, though. Okay, here we go. This is from Joe, who is in the chat room all the time, and he has a very good sense of humor. But his question to you is, I'm thinking about doing men's physique, but I don't want to look like a homo. Should I avoid pink shorts?
Yes. You know what? I'm waiting for the guy. I'm putting it out there. Someone in the top ranks of the men's physique division is going to listen to me. You're going to get black board shorts that are going to fit a little higher on the leg, and you're going to wear them. And you know what? Everyone's going to copy you, and everyone's going to start wearing black, and they're going to realize how these crazy pink and green colors are ridiculous. I guarantee it. One guy, I challenge you to wear it, and everyone will follow you. You'll mark my word right here.
If Mark Anthony wears black ones, then the people will start wearing them.
Well, why don't you? I mean, you talk about all these good ideas. Why don't you design men's board shorts, black shorts?
The Palumbo Signature Series.
That's right. Okay, I'm going to do that. Who do we know that can
actually,
design shorts?
Ian Lauer actually just came out with a line. His last show that he did, he
does?
He has his own shorts. Yeah, our own editor-in-chief for Men's Physique.
All right. Well, maybe
so you need to.
Yeah, but he probably produces all these different colors. He's not going to want me to.
Right. So you just need to
his...
tell him to do a Dave Palumbo line, a special Dave Palumbo line.
We'll call it the Black Series.
Right.
Don't they have a rules, Dave, for the shorts? How long they have to be? You can't have them too short.
I don't think there's any. I don't think there's a measurement.
No, there is, because there was a competitor that showed up just a few minutes late in Toronto, and Steve Weinberger says, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because they were like 6 inches above his knee.
I'm just
he went and got another pair, put them on, and they were still 3 inches above his knee. And he says, "Can you pull them down any?" Well, yeah, but he had 2 inches of ass crack on the backside. They still were too small.
And what happened with him?
So what's the length?
He wound up borrowing shorts from some random guy and made the show.
What's the length?
It's completely subjective. It's completely subjective.
I just want black.
It's completely subjective.
It'll be the Palumbo Black Series.
The way I understood it, it's supposed to be mid patella.
I think they should
patella
have
varies on
the
everybody,
jeans.
but it's subjective.
Jeans. There you go. There you go, Chris. You can do some jeans. Could you do some cut off jean shorts?
No, just jeans.
Remember, that's what the Barbarian Brothers would have worn, right? Jeans and work boots on stage.
It could be like a different round or something.
Well, guys, I really enjoyed the last 3 days. We had 3 days in a row of live TV programming. This is unheard of in our industry. Unprecedented. Only on rxmuscle.com. I want to thank Brian, Sally, Aaron, Johnny Styles, Kareem, and, of course, Colleen, who are here. And who else was here this weekend? And Tyson, our photographer.
Thank Robert DiMaggio for your night.
And, obviously Robert DiMaggio for a good night out. And it was a great weekend here. And I hope you guys will all join us next year at the second annual RX Muscle Classic held here in Columbia, South Carolina.
If you need to requalify for nationals, this is the place to do it. You fly in here, get all the coverage you could ever imagine. You'll be a star going into junior nationals or USAs instead of somebody who's unknown. This is the place to come.
And you know what? You can't have more fun than here. Plus, you get to watch Bros vs. Pros up on the stage. For now that we are out of time, I'm Dave Palumbo with Aaron Singerman and Chris the Technician Aceto. Till next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio, the truth hurts.
The truth hurts.
Good night.